So it's a show about a family, and everyone that talks about the show will say James Evans, when he was on the show, he was the head of the house. He was just absolute ruler of the house, and he kept his kids out of the street and out of the bad things that they were supposed to get into. And that's a very positive thing. Outside of that, he was just he just lost. Like, he was a failure all the way through.
I think that's harsh.
Than the fact that though he put his kids in that situation, he kept them out of the bad stuff. He just, and this is how a guy my age will look at James now. Like, dude, you got 3 kids and a housewife in the ghetto, and you never pulled them out. Like, you died. You left them there. He died on a job, but that isn't. Look, the one thing that TV shows do is when they start, they put you in a situation, right? They just put you there. So they put him there with his wife and his 3 kids. But then I start to think, when did it go bad?
It was bad from the top. What are you talking
about?
No,
from the top of the show. But if we can pull ourselves out and look at that family, when did it go bad? This is what I have to ask myself. Like,
I think you're doing too much.
I'm not doing too much. That's what we're doing. We're unwrapping the show. That's how you unwrap a show. You may have to go outside of the constraints of the show to unwrap it.
Okay, because I was like, let's say that's what we're doing, though.
That is what we're doing.
Okay, because
we were extensively talking about good times.
Trying to stay within a comedic formatted show.
No. We're not talking about that anymore. I think we're off of what the show did. But was James' character a success to you? What did he successfully do?
Well, we would have to ask who they were before we got to them. And
if you knew a family that was the James Evans family today, if you knew a family that somehow lived in the projects that had 3 kids
somehow,
and there was a housewife, we're being hypothetical. That's why I mean somehow. Obviously, yeah, that's happening. How would you view the man of that house? How would you view him?
It would depend on what they were before we walked up on them.
Well,
so if they were 2 people who already lived in the hood in the beginning, right, and they got together, I'm not going to fault them for getting together, 2 people
and having
in the
3
same
kids.
Circumstance. I would not want them to have 3 kids, because clearly 3 kids is not helping their condition, nor is it helping.
Exactly.
It's not helping the children's condition. So clearly I would not want them to have 3 children. But knowing what a lifestyle like that makes a person think, I can't be like, well, you don't need to, you need to think like me. Or you need to think like somebody else. Or you need to think outside of your condition. I can't say that.
Episode 15 of season 2 is where James' wife, Florida, wants to go to school, right? She wants to go to school for her GED. Not college, GED. And on that episode, it says that, because they were arguing, and she mentioned that James dropped out of school in the 6th grade.
There you go.
To help his family. Right, that's you can't say anything negative about that. And she dropped out in the 10th.
Okay.
But she didn't say why. So that's fine, right? So
that is what it is.
That is what it is.
It's not. They gave us those facts. Those facts. Are 2 facts.
So
about the show.
There's 2 people here without too much of an education, and they hook up, and they have JJ, fine, and then they have their daughter. That's fine, but you can tell there was a lot of time that went in between Thelma and Michael.
Michael was a oops.
Right, he was a oops, and he was an extremely light-skinned guy. Never understood that why. He didn't really look like any of them.
Really?
Anyway,
because really,
I'm not making anything out of that. I'm just saying.
Women. I'm thankful Thelma wasn't a hoe.
Oh no, I'm not.
I'm saying
that's not where I was
Michael
going with
really
that.
light-skinned.
That's not where I was going with that. I kind of was going with maybe the show. Maybe they wanted a light-skinned person in the show.
Just how you dealing with the women on the show.
No, I'm dealing with James as a man. Like as a man, I look at James, and yes, if you watch it per episode, you don't really have that thought. But if you think about Good Times as a whole, you have to look at James Evans like, dude, what's going on here? Like once you had 2 and you saw this wasn't going the right way, how did you roll over on Florida again and have a 3rd one? How did that?
You know what you sound like?
I'm judging the dude here. I don't know why you keep thinking I'm talking bad about women. This is a critique on James.
Do you
Evans
know
as
how
a man.
you sound?
How do I sound?
You sound like a closeted.
Here we go.
Republican.
That's fine. I don't mind.
You sound like that.
I don't care because I'm dealing with him as a man.
Because
Whether,
to me,
that's free of being Democrat or Republican.
Okay, fine.
This is man to man.
I'm just saying. Typically, in this
you
day
put
and
your
state,
family in that situation. You would hear
that language from. How did you not abstain from after you had the 2nd kid? How did you not abstain?
Because
how did you not
deal.
just and what we know, like now let's dip into realities of life, right? Let's dip into how something like this happens, and let's go The Wire style rather than network TV style.
I want you to tell me how it happens and then explain how a man allows it to happen.
Let's go into how it happens.
Okay.
And even how within that, we can encapsulate how a man would allow it to happen.
I would like to hear a female tell me how a man can have his family in poverty.
Because what we don't see in James, unless this was earlier,
he wasn't on drugs.
Before we got to him, okay, stop.
I'm just
before we got to him, is we didn't see in James the player, let's say. So we don't ever see James be this person who we could say, really and truly, how is it that you just couldn't stop doing what you were doing? We can't. I don't think that's fair in what we know about James. Okay. What we know about James is that he works, and even in the ghetto, his wife stays home.
I'm waiting on you to explain how James.
Stop. So we know that if he's a guy who is supporting a full entire family, we don't get to really ask this man and say, well, why were you just being haphazard in some kind of way? When we know that living in certain conditions brings you to a certain place, and maybe an escape was sex in this moment. And maybe that's how
right.
And maybe
I know
that's
people
how
that has
we
happened
get to 3 kids.
Okay.
Maybe that's how. Because and the only reason why I'm saying that is that there can be a difference with a dude who is just absolutely being completely inconsiderate and absolutely a mess, and a guy who has always been in poverty, who wasn't able to do what he wanted to do in life because he had to put his dreams to the side to support his family, feeling like, well, I'll never get there because I'm so far behind anybody else that I might have grown up with. Whoever was out there getting whatever degree, I'm never getting there. I had to drop out in 6th grade to help my family. Are you kidding me? So now I'm going to marry this woman who loves me, even despite, all the things that I'm either not doing, whether that's, doing something illegal to get yourself together or whatever. So I'm going to marry her, but I'm going to try, I don't know what the agreement was as to why she was at home, but Florida was at home.
The agreement was he didn't want her to work. Like there were shows about that.
I don't want you to work.
He would get pissed.
I don't want you to work because this is the one thing I can do for my family that is akin to what I see other people who are affluent doing.
Which I have to say for Florida, it was a big ups because she kept trying to work.
So this is how we get maybe 3 kids. we can't say about this guy, we can't put him in the same place that we put other people, even though, yes,
I don't know.
Totally not cool to have more kids. But if you think this is the box I'm in, I have a 6th grade education, there isn't anything, where else am I going?
Okay, now, okay, I would accept that if James wasn't, let's think about who James was. James was he was just the epitome of the John Henry working man. He had fight in him the whole time. Like, he constantly had fight. So this isn't about James being lazy at all. But I mean, he had fight, and he everywhere he went, he absolutely commanded respect for his manhood anyway.
Okay.
Right? Which is why he didn't want his wife to work.
Then? How do you not? How do you say this is
because
not a man?
At what
How
point,
do you say that?
I didn't say he wasn't a man. I'm saying I'm judging him as a man. So from the day you die, you stand in front of God and he judges you. Well, that's what we're doing. So James died, and now I have to look at James and say, damn, like,
the guy
maybe that's
you,
why she was saying
if we're
damn,
gonna do
damn,
a
damn.
theoretical, no, she was saying damn, damn, damn because she ain't had no job and she gonna have to figure out she's now the breadwinner. That's the damn, damn, damn.
And look what you left me with, man.
Look what that's why I don't think the damn, damn, damn is look what you left me with. The damn, damn, damn is you left and now I gotta pick up because she's been a partner all along in my situation. The only other thing that you could say she would say, damn, 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 what you left me with is that I haven't been working and I wanted to work.
I don't want you to apologize for this dude because
I'm not apologizing for James.
Because that leads to other stuff. Like, at some point, the dude has to do what he does, and then the woman has to do what they do. Yes, they have this thing together, but that doesn't stop the fact that if you're gonna be the manly man and you don't work, and I'll command my house and I'll whoop my kids into shape. If you're gonna be all of that, you have got to advance us. Because what's all this manly man stuff for if you don't advance us?
Okay, well, I could see
you
that. You
haven't advanced us at all. At all.
I could see that, but I think that I could only...
That's just walking in the house and holding your nuts and saying, I'm man, but we're not getting nowhere.
And I agree on that. But what I can't do is agree on that in the circumstance. Like, there are certain circumstances I totally agree with that. Like, you don't get to just walk in here and hold your nuts and you're not doing anything and you have the capability of doing more. Whereas in this case, I question his capability of doing more than he was doing, of doing more than saying, I want you staying home and I'm going to work for the family. I question his capability.
I think we're saying the same thing. So if we're putting a judgment on him, we have to say he was a failure.
But he was a failure by circumstance. Then.
No, I don't want to give him that. I don't want to give him that. Because circumstances are easy out. It's an overall statement. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, these are circumstances.
No. To me, you're saying that to me, the playing field is level in some kind of way in your statement. And there isn't a level playing field. Just hold on. Okay. It's not a level playing field, not only because he only has a 6th grade education. He's in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not, like, what do you want from him? What is it that you want? Let me ask you this.
Okay.
What kind of advancement would be good enough for you, for that family? Given he's in a 6th grade education, they have always been seemingly in the hood, and that
I'm gonna tell you.
What?
I'm gonna tell you.
And he's black.
I'm gonna tell you. All he would have had to do for me was to get them out.
Where?
Of the projects. Because that ultimately was his goal. His goal was to make sure his kids were never in it. Like, they were in it, but they weren't in it. But that was his goal, was to make sure that they were in the project, but they were of the projects. All he had to do was get them out, so he didn't have that problem anymore. And he wasn't able to do it. That's what I expected from somebody like James. Let me tell you something about James. When I looked at James, and I'm a person that didn't really have a father figure when I grew up, James is what I thought a father. Well, I'm not saying James raised me or nothing, but when I looked at James on TV, he was a scary person. Like, that's what your dad is supposed to be to a dude. You're supposed to walk out your room and see a big dude like James and know ain't nothing going. There's not anything there's not anything he's gonna take from me, but at the same time, there's not anything that's gonna happen to me. And I'm gonna look at him, and I'm gonna look at the things he does, and I'm gonna try to be like him. No one should have tried to be like James after looking at his whole thing of work.
To me, that's not true.
To be what he was, to come in the house and be how he was,
have a sixth
yet
grade,
to not advance the family.
Where were they living? Like Detroit or something,
Chicago.
Right? Chicago. To have a sixth grade education in a large city like Chicago with systemic
I agree.
poverty and systemic economic, level setting all the time. I think the fact that your father worked hard enough to have your mother at home in the hood.
Well, we both know that was just a horrible financial mistake all the time. But let's not act like
right. No, but
he
I'm
gets
saying,
points for that.
But I'm saying that yes, the fact that he wanted it that way is a horrible financial mistake.
Because you remember they were trying to find $74.
But the fact that for the most part it seemed like their head was above water because of his efforts out there.
That was just in the theme of the show. The head was never above water.
But my thing is, you can't
above water in the projects that doesn't exist.
But above water in regard to if we're doing a comparative study.
There's above and below. If you live in the projects, your head is below water.
Okay, but
can we just say that
in a comparative study of the people within the hood that we're talking about in the projects? That's
comparing horrible. Let's not compare. Let's compare above
Miles,
water
at some point you got to be in the condition. You have to be in the condition
and get out.
No, but you have to assess the condition. You're saying I'm assessing the condition as an outsider, and I am saying that you should have done better. And what I am saying is that you're not properly assessing the actual condition.
That would be a Republican thing to say, and I'm not saying that. I know, and I think you know that I know the conditions they were in, and I'm not pushing that to a side. I'm saying within those, I still have to judge your advancement as a man. I still have to say you never advanced your family. You never advanced them, and you died. I already know about the socioeconomics parts of the 70s. I've read about it. I was born in the 70s. I obviously didn't live it. Yes, all that aside, we can put that aside if we're talking about James as a man, not as an African American. Because as soon as we add African American, then we have to pile on all the social stuff.
But that's what he is, and that's what it is. Like, to me, like you're walking away from exactly what it is by saying that. You're walking away from everything that they're putting in front of you. I get to peel. If you're saying, if you're going to look at if you're going to look at any human male. Right? Then of course you can have that expectation. But guess what? You're a human male you particularly are a human male in a specific situation. That is different than a human male in a different situation. And so you have to say these two people are different.
You know why?
And I'm going to say that this person has this advantage and this person may not have as much of an advantage. And I'm going to say that, yes, I would want both people to do more than what they're doing. But can you, in your particular situation, do more than what you're doing? He had a 6th grade education. He lived in the projects all his life in Chicago.
But look at the choices. But look at the choices he made, though. He doesn't want his wife to work. I'm judging him based on who he was on the show. You walked around holding your nuts. But what did you advance? If he was a sorry dude, or if he was a lazy dude, we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
That's where it becomes problematic. Is that he's
how did they make him this manly John Henry man, and at the same time he advanced nothing?
Okay, so now I'm with you. Now I'll be with you because somebody
said it 30 minutes ago.
Somebody wrote what we're talking about, right?
Yes, but
somebody wrote what we're talking about.
Yes, we did.
So they wrote a man who was staying in the projects and said, "No, wife, do not work." Not
insane.
Not you can't work. Not they didn't create a situation that said she couldn't work for some reason. Like I hitched my star to a woman who cannot work. And she's, whatever reason she can't work, she can't be a contributor to a impoverished situation. They wrote a man who said, "I am not lazy. I work." And my goal is to get my family out of here. But what you can't do.
Of course, he never said that.
What you can't do is work to get help. And I think that's where certain logical situations get lost. And I think that is by design. I think that show writing is by design. Is that it's not even that you're lazy and you didn't advance. Oh no, you can be absolutely hardworking and you don't advance.
That is part of the evil of the show.
That's the stab. I think that's the knife that everybody gets to catch. Is that no. Your hard work doesn't actually do anything.
Nope, doesn't do anything at all.
You must die to get
out of this.
You must die, and some dude who's doing less work than you, honest, like he's a football player, but come on. That kind of work will help you advance, but not your actual sweat that you walk out every single day and do 8 for. That's not going to help you.
That it needs to end, right? Like right.